Okay, so we have actually a very interesting panel now because we're going to see three sides of a very interesting equation around how corporates, energy corporates, improve their operation and services toward final customers by interacting with startups, which I think it's one of the major themes of open innovation, and a lot of the innovation that's happening in corporates is how do you connect these two things, right? How do you connect the big machinery of corporations, and how do you work with startups without killing them in the process, right? And to talk about that, I want to introduce directly our next speaker. So first, let's welcome the moderator, Maria Sansigre from Demeter Partners, our investor side of the equation. Big applause, Maria. Thank you for joining us. Come on, guys. We're small, but we're noisy. Come on. I want to welcome Vincent Priant, president from Deepkey, from the startup world. Very good. Thank you very much, Vincent, for joining us. And last but not least, Olivia Infantes. She's the head for new products for NG and the corporate side. Big applause, guys. We have not a lot of people, but they're powerful. So drive it, okay?
Hello.
Enjoy, guys.
Hello to everyone. Well, we are speaking these days about the energy transition, and digitalization is key to decentralize the operations of the future of the grid. These days, startups and corporates are developing and testing technologies with intention of scaling up these technologies to through new business models to the market. Sometimes we listen as well that corporates kill startups, but we are here to discuss how both parties create value to each other. So I will start with the first question to Olivia, okay. Because Olivia works in NG, and NG is one of Demeter's LPs, and is very, very active in open innovation and corporate investment in startups. So my first question is, what do you think the collaboration between the corporation and the startup is not only about a trending topic or a bubble, as something some people think today?
First of all, I would like to give you a little view of what NG is. We are present in 70 countries around the world. We are more than 155,000 people. We are present in the whole value chain, from upstream to downstream in power and natural gas sectors, and we are also experts on energy efficiency. Like a bull in a china shop when it comes to innovation. And we are involved in the energy transition. We know that our business is changing, and we really need innovation. So that's why in 2014 we decided to create a comprehensive strategy related to innovation. Started by the relaunching of an internal trophies in order to get advantage of all the knowledge that we have inside, but also looking for innovation outside the company. How? In two different ways. With continuous call for projects, specifically direct to find solutions for the problems of our customers. First thing. Second one, a network of spokes of innovation in each of the countries in which we were present, in order to monitor the ecosystem to find solutions interesting for us. Once we find an idea, we create an incubator and an accelerator, and when the idea is a business, we have a venture capital to invest in the most promising ideas businesses in order to implement it within our corporation. So with all of that, I think that what I can say is that for us, it's not a trend, it's a must.
Okay. Well, Vincent is a CIO of DeepKey, and DeepKey is one of the most promising startups that we have today at Demeter's portfolio. So, yeah. I would like to know your opinion about the first pilot. So, to what extent first pilot with corporation were key enablers of DeepKey's scale-up?
Thank you, Maria, for this question, and thank you for having me today here. I can give you not only my opinion, but also an example. Actually, we are very proud of it, but our first customers 4 years ago, when we launched this venture, DeepKey, with my co-founder, Emmanuel Blanchet, it was NG European Real Estate Department. And it was for us very useful at this time for 3 reasons. First, when you start and you are 2 people and you left your job, you are very happy to have big corporates that believed in you. Otherwise, it's harder to start because launching a venture is a hard job, I can tell, and you are very happy to have someone behind you who can trust in you. The second point is, it's a good reference. I mean, it's a huge reference. When you work and you want to disrupt the data management, the energy data management technologies and market, and you have a customer like Engie, I mean, which is one of the biggest utilities in the world, it's capital. I mean, it's decisive to start your business, and you change completely the way you talk with your leads and customers because you have this. You have a reference, a big reference. And the last but not the least, I think this is the fact that these first customers and these first pilots provided us with real-life example, real-life data. You cannot build a software, a platform like our platform without real-life data, because otherwise it's just an idea, it's not a business, like Olivia said.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, independently of the case of collaboration with DeepKey, can you give another examples, particularly strategic for Engie, where the collaboration with a startup has been integrated into the business?
Mm-hmm. Well, we want to become the leaders, one of the leaders of the energy transition. That means that we have to deal with new areas as clean energy sources, e-mobility services, different mobility ways. I would say flexibility of demand, etc. A lot of new issues. In each of them, we have tried to look for interesting ideas. And for example, in relation to e-mobility, we bought EVBox last year, and we also have invested in Gogoro. In relation to demand response, for example, we have invested in Kiwi Power. We invested also in Eliatech. For example, in relation to new services for cities, we also invest in Cyrادel. And of course, one of the main pillars of this energy transition is energy efficiency. And that's why we also work with DeepKey from 2014. That was the moment in which we studied the idea, we got in contact with them. We integrated their team in an incubator in order for 18 months. And we helped them to develop their business in order to go with them to the world outside. And we were their customers at the beginning. We have used their software to improve the way we manage our B2B customers. But we also use DeepKey to analyze the behavior of some of our customers in order to implement measures that creates value for us, but also for them, because they are looking for customers. So that's a win-win relation. So that, I think that that's a good example. And I would say also maybe EVBox is also a successful, at least by now, a successful investment, because our intention, maybe you know EVBox. EVBox is a manufacturer of charging stations for electric vehicles. And we bought them not because we want to have the hardware itself within the company and be the installers of that hardware, but because they were thinking on developing a big platform, a huge platform for e-mobility, and we consider that that platform should be integrated properly within cities. So we are working with them to co-create that platforms that gives value to the cities.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, Vincent, I have understood part of the value proposition of this case when approaching one of the clients, but what is your value proposition, and what do you believe your clients find the most innovative and useful from your technology?
Thank you for this advertising moment. I can speak about the company. Actually, we are a young, innovative technological company. We provide a software that collects automatically data from existing sources on building stocks, and we extract value of this data thanks to what we call machine learning, but actually which are predictive models and clustering models. And our job is to do two things: is to save our customers time because it's not very interesting to collect data and put them in an Excel sheet. And the second point is to get to know remotely how we can save energy and water in buildings. And we just answer this following question: tell me who you are, little building or big building, and I tell you how much you can save, where you can save, and how you can save. Mm-hmm. And our customers value what we provide thanks to this software as an innovative technology, but they also value our past experiences. And it comes back to the previous point. When you have big customers, and when now we have more than 130 customers in our customer portfolio, you can tell, look, I'm not obliged to provide a pilot. You can trust me. You can ask my other customers. I have enough experience now in the market to provide you the service you need. The third point is, I think, trying to be professionals, and we try to always say what we do and do what we say, and our customers value this talk and this information. And the last but not the least, I would say it's being nice. I have 55 people who are nicer than me, more friendly, even more friendly. You'll see. Come to visit us in Paris, Milano, or Madrid. You have one here, very friendly as well. And we try to create a relationship with our customer, a trustful relationship.
Mm-hmm. Well, another question important to me as an investor is to understand how both parties create value to each other in a B2B context. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes it's difficult to understand how a new startup doing with a disruptive model is creating value to a client. And this is necessary to be sure that after the pilot, it will be a contract. So, in your case, how startups are creating value to NG?
I'm going again to talk about DeepKey because I think it's a good example. The thing is that the product that they have help us to help our customer to identify what measures can be implemented to save money in their buildings. So from the point of view of DeepKey, we can help them to find that customers. From our point of view, we want our customers to be with us, to have a long relation with them. We have to help them in the problems that they are more interested in, and money spent in energy is a big concern in this moment. So, with the measures that DeepKey, or with the information that DeepKey provide to us, we can propose different measures to our customers that we also as ENGIE are able to deploy. So DeepKey finds the value, the customer has its value, and ourselves also have work for us because we have to implement the measures. So all of us are winning in this relation, from my point of view. All of us.
Okay. And in your case, apart of the ENGIE's example, do you have some example that corporate have created value? For example, upgrading the technology or adapting a part of the technology that you didn't realize that was so strategic, or?
Yes, that's true. I have another example with a company based in France that's called ProxyServe. Their job is to do operation and maintenance within water and energy equipments in collective housing. And actually, they have little and medium customers. Customers we wouldn't have been able to work with because the cost of acquisition for us would have been completely too important for us. And thanks to this partnership, now we have more than 1,000 additional customers, small and medium companies within our software. And it was thanks to this partnership. Otherwise, we would have gone onto these people. So for us, partnerships and partners like ProxyServe, like ENGIE, is also a way to access to middle market.
Yeah, in this context, the pilots, it's true that they're intended to scale up the technology, no? And
if you don't mind, I'm going to add something, because in relation to another example, just for you to see the value that we give us to each other. In the case of EDBox, they are a whole company from the Netherlands. They were trying to sell stations. They were selling stations from 2013, I think. So, and they have a good history behind them. But with their platform, they needed someone to help them to deploy a platform that gives value to the society. With us, now they have the vision of an electricity company that knows what e-mobility is going to have to provide to the power sector. And additionally, we have opened for them the door for big corporations to sell their product, not only the station, but also the software. For example, maybe you know that in Spain you need to have a specific authorization to deal with charging stations. As ENGIE, we have that license, and we can operate their stations. So as you can see, I think that there are a lot of different ways in which we can try to collaborate. You have to find the product, the business, and you have to define how to develop it in the market with giving value to the customers.
Okay, thanks. Well, another question, I think, last question, is that for me, it's a real challenge as an investor, but a real challenge to scale up a startup. And I consider a real challenge as well to pass from pilot project to real business for the startup, no? And I've seen a lot of companies that are doing pilots and pilots and pilots and pilots, and they don't scale up because these pilots are not converted into real business, even if the technology works correctly. So I would like to see your opinion about the barriers. What in the case of DeepKey or a startup, in what moment do you think a startup is prepared to scale up the product within a corporation or outside with other type of clients? But when are you ready to scale?
I start?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if we are ready to scale up. We are very ready to grow and willing to grow. But what I can tell that what was main challenges so far and what are the new challenges we start facing. Main challenges we used to face, the first one was to raise awareness. When you start in a blue ocean market, you arrive and say, hey, I have a wonderful technology that will help you to do this and this, to save money, to save time, and to get a broader, more comprehensive vision of your real estate portfolio. Everybody tells you, okay, great, but we didn't wait. We didn't wait for you. So they either don't do, or they do differently with Excel sheet, with time, with other means. And the first step was to raise awareness. And we see that at the beginning it's a long process, but at the end, you see more and more RFPs, you see more and more people, and companies talk to each other, and we have more opportunities. And now, clearly, we see it that Spain is clearly ready to launch all these new technologies, big data technologies, into real estate management. The second point is, you're right, to manage to implement the first pilots. Otherwise, you go from a pilot to another, because each new company tells you, okay, I don't know you, I don't know your technology, you are quite young, only 4 years old, only 2 years old, etc. So we need to start with a pilot. If you manage to implement the first pilots with NG, for instance, but with others as well, you can tell, look, I have big customers, blue chip customers. We finally implemented everything we wanted to implement. They're happy. You can ask them. And so it's a good way to stop pilots and now we can do some pilots in new industries in which we are not, or in new markets in which we are not, but we stopped pilots with industries we know very well, and we have 10 or 20 customers now. The third point is, I forgot my third point. I had a third point, I think. Yeah. Getting investors on board. Why? For two reasons. I'll give you two examples. The first one is you need cash. If you want to expand internationally, you need cash. It's very expensive to open an office in a new country. It's expensive to hire. It's expensive to do some R&D, to adapt your product from a country to another. So you need cash. The second point is you need to be ready to follow up your KPIs to grow. And as an example, I would say that before Demeter Ventures get on board, Deepkey's board, actually we didn't know, Emmanuel and I, how to manage the financial KPIs, but not at all. I mean, we are both engineers, and we don't know how to manage all these financial KPIs. Now we know, thanks to you. And when you have 15 employees, you cannot afford to have a CFO. So you are very happy to have financial and investors. And now the new challenges we are facing since we started the expansion international expansion is hiring talents. It's very hard to find the good people, not only the good experienced people with good skills, set of skills, but also the people that will fit to your culture. And yeah, this is a day-to-day challenge, and it's very hard for us. The second point is to manage the culture change, because it's a continuous change. When you double your staff every year, when you change the organization of the company every 6 months, that generates a lot of issues, and people are sometimes uncomfortable with that. It's not easy at all, and we face people that leave the company, we face issues, and we need to maintain the culture, otherwise it becomes a nightmare. So this is a very hard point. And the third point, I always forgot my third point today. The third point is to know how to expand internationally. I give you an example. In Italy, we decided to open an office because we think this is a good way to do it. So we hired people there, and now we have customers, and it works, and the team is growing up. Good. But for instance, in Spain, we think that it's not only open an offices, it's also having partners who will help us to break into more quickly into the market, because it's important sometimes to have socios to be more credible in the market and to show value more quickly. So that's what we do here
Thank you.
today.
And in your case, when do you think a corporation is internally ready to implement a technology from a startup and scale it within the business?
Well, I think that internally we use two criteria. The first one is that we have to be able, the corporation has to be able to translate into a business that really interests to the market the product of the startup. And because if you don't have a market, you don't need the product, so it's not going to be successful. And the second one is that the technology provided by the startup is correctly integrated within the processes, run smoothly within the processes, the internal processes of the corporation. I would say that two criteria are the most important for us.
So basically, it's very important that even if the technology is not finished, the CIO of the startup has the visibility of finding in the market a business case to match with the...
For the corporation, it's very important to find a business that is interesting for the customer.
Okay.
It's not more than that.
Okay. Okay. Well, I think we are done. So thank you for being here